First, I want to give all honor and glorification to the Most High Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Umarak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, and Yahweh Shah is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ. First, I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men that's going out there laboring, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, the freezing below colds, and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. Secondly, I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty Akwath, the sisters that are married and unmarried, reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. And last but not least, I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in this truth as well, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in the last days. It's Brother Tazamah, and I'm coming at you with another cold cut through the Spirit. And the topic of this cold cut for this video is, are you dealing with temptation? Right? Are you dealing with temptation? And this is the raw and hidden truth about it. Right? Are you dealing with temptation? And this is the raw hidden truth about it. Now, you have a lot of new brothers and sisters coming into the truth. You may not have known what temptation is. We done a plethora of videos. You might be on, like I said, you might be new. You don't know what temptation is about, how to deal with it, or how to overcome it. And it's our job as the servants of the Lord to put out these, not mysteries rather, but to put out this info so you could be able to be eligible for salvation. Now, the reason why it says the raw hidden truth about temptation, because everybody has a misconception of what temptation is. People might say, well, temptation is when the devil is really testing you and he wants you to go to hell, so he does certain things to get you out the spirit. You have Christians saying temptation is just a feeling that you just get. Everybody has a misconception about what truly temptation is and how to overcome it. Certain men said, you can't overcome it. You're in the flesh. You have other men saying only way you can overcome it is by exercising. It's a lot of madness going on. And we here to tell you today, if you're a brother and a sister in the truth, you have to deal with temptation. And we're going to truly go over what's temptation and how to overcome it. Let me kick it off with the book of, Judah. Right? Let me kick it off with the book of Judah, chapter 8. Right, let's kick it off with the book of Judah, the 8th chapter. Now, this is the book of Judah, chapter 8, and verse number 26. Like I said earlier, if you're a brother and sister in the truth, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the truth, how old are you, how much you know, you have to deal with the temptation. I mean, you have to. You can't avoid it, can't go around it. You have to deal with it. And we have to go into what it truly is. Now, this is the book of Judah, chapter 8 and 26. It says, remember what things he did to Abraham and how he tried Isaac and what happened to Jacob in Mesopotamia when he kept the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. Now, I actually have the definition of temptation pulled up. Now, the definition of temptation is, it's the desire to do something especially wrong or unwise. And that's a mean definition, man. It's the desire to do something even when you know it's not right, or it might not be for your best interest. Now, it says, remember what things he did to Abraham and how he tried Isaac. Temptation is ultimately a test. It's a test you're getting tried by the Most High to see whether you will keep his commandments or not. Will you be overcome by the flesh, or will you maneuver through the obstacles you need to do to be eligible for salvation? So, like I said, everybody has to deal with this. Hey, our forefathers, they had to deal with temptation. A lot of brothers, they come into the truth. They say, man, hey, I think I'm the only one dealing with this, man. Surely I'm the only one. You got certain women, they new to it. They might have think they're the only one. We're here to tell you, temptation all goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden with Eve. And that's well over, that's thousands of years ago. So you're not the first man to go through temptation, man. Stop being simple. You got certain men saying, man, why is this happening to me? Surely I must be the only man going through this. No, brother, you had men thousands of years ago going through the same thing you're going through. You had women, sister, going through the same thing you're going through right now. So, Isaac, he went through temptation, man. Abraham, Jacob, King David. It's a lot of men in the Bible that went through temptation. I'm going to read on. Verse number 27. For he hath not tried us in the fire as he did them, for the examination of their hearts. Neither hath he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord doth scourge them that come near unto him to admonish him. So Judith said, for he hath not tried us in the fire as he did them. Meaning the men that were before us, they really got, you might go through a little something. You might want to do some off things. Judith said, it's nothing like what happened to our forefathers. It's nothing like what happened to our foremothers and what they went through. Yeah, you have certain men complaining, man, why is this happening to me? When is this going to be over? When I'm going to get through this temptation? Brother, you haven't been through anything. The things that you're going through is nothing to compare to the obstacles you have to encounter toward the latter days. The point is, it says, for ye have not tried us in the fire as he did them, for the examination of their hearts. Neither have he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord doth scourge them that come near unto him to admonish them. And we're going to get to that point later. The point is, if you're a man or a woman, you have to deal with something that you want to do, even though it's wrong. That's the definition of temptation. The desire to do something, especially when it's wrong or it's unwise. Let's go to the book of, I want to get this precept. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 22. Now, everybody has different temptations that they deal with. Certain brothers, they have, your temptation is according to your lust. So everybody has different lusts. Certain men, they have a cigarette addiction, a bad one. They can't stop smoking tobacco. They can't stop smoking marijuana. They can't stop doing drugs and popping pills. They can't stop eating animals. That's their temptation. Certain men, they can't stop doing crack, cocaine, heroin. You have other men, they can't stop being whoremongers, right? They can't stop having sexual intercourse. You got certain men, they can't stop drinking. Certain women, they can't stop getting angry. They have anger issues. They throw stuff around the house, right? They throwing all their husband's clothes out the window. Everybody has different temptations, man. Certain men, they can't stop lusting and watching pornography and masturbating. Everybody's lust is different, right? The point is, you have to deal with it, man. And the Bible gives you ways and accounts of how to overcome it and for lack of better terms, and endure it. Now, let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 22. Right? Genesis, chapter 22. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 22. So whatever your temptation is, it might not be the next man's. Everybody has diverse lusts and diverse temptations. Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here am I. And when you're going to find about, what you're going to find out about temptation, God loves tempting certain men, man. Right? The Lord likes trying certain men. It's something, that's his characteristics. That's something that the Lord takes interest in. Now, Abraham got tempted, man. Now, are you better than Abraham? You got certain men saying, hey, Abraham got to look up to me, and being prideful. No, brother, you're not better than Abraham. So why are you crying about you getting tempted? Why are you crying about you getting tempted? Did Abraham cry when he got tempted? Right? Where is that account of Abraham crying when he got tempted? It's no account, man. Yeah, you got certain men, they crying, tears running down their eyes. They don't know what to do. It just feel like the Lord hates them. No, brother, this happened of old. It says, and it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here am I. And he said, take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee in the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Now what the Lord told Abraham to do is something that will be strange to a man. The Lord told Abraham to go up to the land of Moriah and take thy son Isaac and go offer him up for a burnt offering. Now a lot of men, they'll say, what? You want me to do that? Nah, I don't know about that. You got certain women, they'll tell the Most High you tripping. Certain men that tell the Lord what you want. It's no account of Abraham saying, Lord, you tripping. Nevertheless, Abraham had a choice. He could have either said, well, hold on, I'm not doing this. This is my only son. Or he could have followed the instructions of the Most High. Now, reading on, it says, verse 3, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave to the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God hath told him. And on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said to his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. So Abraham was ready, man. Abraham, he said, hey, I'm ready to do this. No questions being asked. It says, verse 7, and Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am I, my son? And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? So you have his own son, Isaac, saying, hold on, we have everything else we needed, but where is the animal for the burnt offering? Verse 8, and Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Now, I'm going to reading on. It says, and they came to the place which God hath told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. So Abraham's ready, man. Temptation came to Abraham. Abraham didn't cry. He was getting down. He said, hey, I'm ready. Now, we here to tell you the average man is not, he can't do this. 1,000 thoughts might be going through his head. It took almost 3 days for Abraham to go to that place. Do you know what was on Abraham's mind? Satan was probably getting in his head. We led to believe Satan was. I mean, you have 3 days to think about you offering up your son for a burnt offering. Satan's probably going through his head, what you don't do this. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not do this. Getting in his head, man. But Abraham, he was ready. He stretched forth his knife to slay his son. And that's what temptation would do, man. Let's say you have somebody's tempting you to, or you see something that's tempting you to smoke weed, right? You're walking down the street and you smell weed. Guess what? You're gonna get tempted. Now, while you're getting tempted, Satan's gonna play on your mind, man. He's gonna say, "You remember that smell?" Right? Now, this is not literally saying Satan talking to you, but these are your own thoughts that Satan is using. You walking down the damn street, you smell weed. Don't you remember? And all you hear is, "Don't you remember that smell?" Right? Remember the time you used to do that? And how you used to go to the corner store and get some snacks with it? Why don't you just go buy some? That's Satan playing on your mind. Guess what? It took Abraham 3 days to finna go offer up his son. And guess what? We don't know all the thoughts that was going through his head. Right? Reading on. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Verse 11. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me. See that? So, at the end of this thing, the Lord didn't really want him to go through with that. But guess what? He got confirmation. I know that you fear me. You're willing to do anything for me. How many men is willing to do anything for the Most High? A lot of men, they'll get tempted. They'll say, well, Lord, you know I got my job. I can't miss a day. Right? The Lord said, take 2 days off from your job to go on a fast. And you saying, you know I can't miss work. Brother, what do you mean you can't miss work, man? You're supposed to have the Most High God first. And it showed that Abraham had the Lord first, even above his children. Right? So this is the temptation that Abraham had to deal with. Now, every brother doesn't have to deal with this. Right? Men don't have to deal with offering up their son now. We don't even have, for one, we don't even have a temple. And two, we don't even know how to do those ceremonial laws. It's not dealing with this. But that was for Abraham. Now, whatever you deal with, that's for you, man. That's not for the next man. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 39. Let's get another account. Right, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 39. Genesis 39 and 6. Genesis 39 and 7. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 39 and 7. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. Now, his master's wife is talking about Pharaoh. Pharaoh's wife, she kind of looked on Joseph. I'm saying, she gave him that look. Right? You men, you know what look I'm talking about. Right? When Eve come in, she looking you up and down. She smiling. She talking to her friends. She giving you that look. Right? That's what happened to Joseph. Now, a lot of men, they deal with, you know what I'm saying, they deal with lust and evil concupiscence, right, and sex. So a man that doesn't know how to deal with temptation or doesn't know about it, once Eve looks him up and down, he said, okay, yeah, I'm finna go do this. Jake said, I'm finna go take that down. No, brother, that's off. You don't even know the sister. You just going off. You got tempted. She gave you that. All it took was that look. She didn't even have to say nothing to you. Right? A lot of men, a lot of you brothers, women don't even have to say anything to you. They just look at you and you start getting tempted, then you give in to that temptation. No, man. It says, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. Meaning she was trying to seduce Joseph, man. Another man's wife was trying to tell Joseph, hey, you look good. Hey, let's do this. Guess what Joseph did? Verse 8. Now a lot of men, they would have started, and one thing about temptation you're gonna find out, it's gonna feel good to your flesh. Right? It's a feeling I can't explain, but you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it in your flesh. It's gonna say yes. Do it. But if you're a spiritual man, you have to say no, man. We're not doing it, man. You have to say la. If you're a woman and you getting tempted, which you gonna feel it in your flesh, you have to say, we're not dealing. The Lord is not dealing with this, and you have to go through the precepts. A lot of men, you would have gave into it and just lied with her. Now it says, right, like the brother said, the brother Chance Love, it pulls you and your mind have to fight. Yeah, it pulls you, man. It's a type of feeling. It's just telling you to do it. Then that's when Satan start really working. He's like, you know you could do it. Why not? What's stopping you? What do you have to lose? A lot of brothers, you start saying, yeah, you're right. What do I have to lose? No, brother, you got a lot to lose, man. You could lose the spirit. You could lose your understanding. You could lose this truth. A lot of men, yeah, I really don't have nothing to lose. Yeah, you're right, Satan. And you just getting seduced, and you just fell in temptation. This is what Joseph did. Verse 8. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master, what is with me in the house, and he have committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie with her or to be with her. And Satan was testing this man every day. The Lord was trying this man. It tell you that. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 105. Joseph was getting tempted, but Joseph made the right decision. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 105. Right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 105, at verse number 17. It says, he sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron. Right? Because Joseph got sold into slavery. It says, until the time that his word came, the word of the Lord tried him. So Joseph got tempted. Joseph got tried, man. And this is our forefather. How much more us? How much just us, earth, just dust and ashes? And 1 Kings 9:19-4, Elijah said, I am no better than my fathers. So we're not better than our forefathers, man. Nowhere near, nowhere close. But we have to use these accounts and the precepts that's written in the Bible to furthermore our understanding. Now, I want to go to the book of Matthew. Dealing with the point I just made, one thing you're going to learn about temptation, you're going to feel it. Now, certain things they don't really tempt. Certain things it might be minor temptations. If somebody tell me to eat pork, right? We got 2 for $3 pork tacos. I mean, yeah, it's gonna tempt me, but I'm not really gonna feel it. It's minor, it's little, it's small. But you have greater temptations. When you're gonna actually feel it in your flesh, it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel good to your body. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 16. Right? Matthew chapter 16. Hey, when certain women smoke cigarettes, it feel good, man. Before they do it, it feels good to them. Their bodies start getting hot, they start sweating, right? They start getting energized. Then they go smoke the cigarette. Then their flesh is appeased. Got certain men they watching they burning in their lust. Right? They thinking about watching pornography and it feels good to their flesh. Then after that they fulfill the lust thereof. Certain men they have an alcohol problem. They're alcoholics. It feels good. They thinking about drinking. They know it's wrong though. But as soon as they hear an alcohol beverage, that damn body start tingling. Then Satan starts saying, just have you a sip. Then one sip of Don Julio turns into some damn white Hennessy, man. Next thing you know, this brother passed out on the floor in his underwear at a feast day. The point is, you're gonna feel temptation. It's the book of Matthew chapter 16 and verse number 21. This Matthew 16 and 21. From that time forth began Yahushua to shew unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. Right, Yahushua, he telling the disciples, I'm going to be killed by the chief priests, elders, and scribes. And then the third day, he's going to be raised up, according to the Old Testament prophecies. Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. So Peter, the disciple, who's really saying this, using, he says to Yahushua, Lord, Lord, Lord. Right? You don't have to do this. Right? You don't have to be killed. You don't have to die on a cross. What are you talking about? We need you here. One thing you're going to find out about temptation, right? Satan is going to use the brothers and sisters that's closest to you. So it's a reason why Satan used Peter the apostle. I mean, he's that close to Yahushua. Now Satan could use anybody. He could have used a vagabond. He could have used a stranger to say to Yahushua, that much. Hey, guess what? You don't gotta die on the cross, so forth and so on. But Satan, he picked Peter the apostle for a reason. And Satan's gonna use whoever is the closest to you to tempt you. That's like somebody saying, eat pork, or they're selling pork. A man that you don't know, you're gonna say, hey brother, we can't be eating pork. We the Israelites. But as soon as your great granny come in, that say, hey baby, I cooked this for you. You sure you don't want this? A lot of men, you scared to tell your grandma no, man. You like, hey, granny, I don't know, granny. Wait, what you cooking with? You cooking with some hash browns? Then you start asking what she cooking with. Because Satan, he's going to use brothers and sisters that's closest to you. The people that you don't really hurt feeling. You don't really hurt their feelings. If an Edomite came up to me and said that, his feelings getting hurt, man. Or a random Jake, he getting rebuked. But somebody whose feelings you don't really want to hurt, Satan's gonna use them people to tempt you. Now reading on, it says, verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. That's what Yahushua did. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. But hold on. How did Yahushua know that it was Satan that was on Peter? I mean, how did he know? Well, one, yes, we know he's the Son of Man. He's on a high spiritual level, so he's able to detect that. But another reason why Satan knew, why Yahushua knew that was Satan hopping on Peter, because it felt good to his flesh, man. If I'm getting tempted and it feels good to my flesh, I'm automatic. Okay, yeah, this Satan. Yeah, this Satan. Man, that's madness. That's evil. I'm already gonna know what time it is. But a man just coming into the truth, he doesn't know. He doesn't know when his flesh feel, you know what I'm saying, his flesh feeling good, that's Satan. But this what you have to learn. You're gonna learn through experience, man. You're gonna learn dealing with it. If you ask elder men that's been in the truth for long periods of time, hey, they'll give you the whole rundown on how temptation works. Yeah, why? Because they done been through it a lot. If any man would know about it, I mean, it would be Hamashiach Barak Yahushua. He got tempted all through the Gospels, man. Right? So that's one part of temptation. You're gonna feel it. It's gonna feel good to your flesh. But this is what the Lord said. Right? So next time smoking weed feels good to your body, you have to know it's Satan, man, and it's temptation. Right? Next time you get a wicked thought on a down head up Keisha in the world, it's temptation, man. Right? Let me go to this in the book of Sirach. Chapter 19. Right? Next time your flesh feels good until you don't have to read, brother, you getting tempted, man. You as a woman, next time you get angry, you just give in to it. You have to know that that's Satan trying to get you out the spirit. This is what the Lord said. This Sirach chapter 19 and 5. It says, Whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned. Right, so if you take pleasure in wickedness and foolishness, the Lord you're gonna get condemned, man. The Lord gonna get up with you, man. You're taking pleasure in down. You got certain brothers, they just man, they taking pleasure in Sports Center and NBA stats and going to the bars, still hanging out with worldly friends. You got certain women, they take pleasure into blunts, going to the parties, doing what they want to do on the Sabbath day. Hey, certain women, they take pleasure in not wearing dresses. We had a woman that went by account. She got we say she got a pan spirit on her. Right? We see her almost every day. Really. Right? At camp, walking her dog with pants. Then we say, sister, you know who you are? She said, yeah. She said, but I'm not listening to y'all because y'all said we can't wear pants. But she got a pants spirit on her, man. Certain women, they take pleasure in that. They take pleasure in wearing pants. Whatever you take pleasure in, if you take pleasure in wickedness, you're going to get condemned, man. Straight up. It says, but he that resisteth pleasures. I'm going to read that again. But he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life, man. So when you feel that temptation on your flesh, you have to resist that. We're here to tell you, if you're in this truth, you have to resist the things that feel good. You have to resist things that feel good to you, man. If you like playing video games, you have to resist that. If you like getting caught up in the sports and the stats, and you know everything about down football and baseball, you have to resist that, man. If you take pleasure in marijuana, again, alcohol, pornography, masturbation, hitting up women in the world, women hitting up men in the world, if you take pleasure in adultery, you have to resist that. Why? Because you're gonna crown your life, and it teaches you discipline. Now let's go to the book of First Peter. I want to get this precept in First Peter to link up with that. Right? It's the book of First Peter, chapter 2. Right, let's go to the book of First Peter, chapter 2. Slovakia. Right, it's the book of First Peter. Chapter 2 and verse number 11. It says, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul." And again, that ties into temptation, man. Because you're going to feel your body actually going against your spirit. Right? You're going to feel your body going against your soul. You're going to feel your body saying yes, yes, yes. But your spirit saying no. This is evil. This is breaking God's commandments. This is not righteousness. Point is, Peter said, you have to abstain from fleshly lust. Certain men, they lust might be getting money all day. They just want to get money. They on FanDuel and DraftKings and just binge watching it and seeing and making bets, man. That's their temptation. You have to abstain from that. That gambling spirit. I got certain brothers, they got that gambling spirit. Oh yeah, 500 on this game. Next thing you know, you can't even pay your rent no more because you didn't gamble all your money. Now, I want to get this precept in the book of Psalms, chapter 95. I want to get this precept in Psalms, chapter 95. And verse number, Psalms 95 and verse number 8. It says, "Harden not your heart as in the provocation, and as in the day of temptation, in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work." All right, so the Lord said, harden not your hearts as in a provocation, as in the day of temptation in the wilderness. So men got tempted in the wilderness, man. It wasn't just anything going on during the time of the Exodus. They just did what they wanted to do. There was a lot of temptation and lust out there, man. But our forefathers, they gave into that. One thing you're going to learn is you cannot give, when you get tempted, you cannot give into that, man. You give into it one time. It could be this small. The Lord is going to give you over into that. Whatever is on your mind, Most High is going to give you over to that. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter, let me get this. Man, there's so many here. Somebody's calling me. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse number 29. Right? Psalm chapter 78 and 29. Right, Salakia. This Psalm chapter 78 and 29. It says, so they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own lust. Right? Right, Salakia. I'm going to read that again. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and 29. It says, so they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own lust. And that's what the Lord will do, man. When you get tempted and you give into it, the Lord will give you up into your own lust, man, and your own heart's desire. Whatever you desire on your mind, whether that's money, cars, vanity, the flesh, anything, the Lord will give you unto that, man. He said, okay, you thinking about money all the time? You thinking about video games? Okay, and then give you over into it. Next thing you know, you going hours without praying, and you out of the spirit, man. Lord said, okay, you want to watch Netflix? You don't want to read? Okay, have Netflix, have it. Go ahead. Next you know, you got a damn Netflix demon. You got a Netflix demon, and you just loot and precepts just slip in your mind. You just watching Netflix all day with eating Cheeto Puffs. That's because the Lord is giving you over into your own desire. Let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 81. Or let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 81 and verse number 12. Right, this Psalm chapter 81 and verse 12. I'm going to start at verse 11. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel with none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. Right? And the Most High do that, man. All because you gave in to that little temptation. You entertained that demon. Whatever demon that you're dealing with, whether your job, the evil spirits that's on your in your marriage, whatever it is, the laziness, the Lord will give you over into that if you just entertain it a little bit. He will give you into your own heart's lust. Then eventually you destroyed yourself. Now you fell out the truth. Because you was just going off. Because you didn't know how to deal with temptation. You thought this was a joke. And temptation, man, that's top 5 things in this truth. I'm saying, temptation. You can't take this as a joke. Because if you take this as a joke, you're going to temptation your way out of this truth. You're going to be playing around. Temptation going to come. You're going to be playing around. You're going to denounce the Most High. Because you out of the spirit. Then you're going to be in the world. So you're going to be God knows where. All because you took this lightly. You cannot take temptation lightly, man. You can't play around with it. A lot of brothers, they play around with it. They joke about it. Till it's time for that trial to come. Then they the ones that's crying. Well, brother, you shouldn't have been playing around with it, man. Certain brothers, they get tempted. They start laughing around. Jake tempting you at your job. He's saying, hey, brother, you see that Eve? Right, that's all Jake do, man. Jake say, hey, you see that Eve, man? Hey, that's you. That's all you. Then you like, you know you an Israelite, right? You know you have to be with a godly woman. Right, Jake saying, hey, that's you, that's you. You saying, hey, man, hey. What's her name? Hey, go get her. Brother, you playing around, brother. What do you mean go get her? Next thing you know, you done damn interacted with her. You done slipped up. The whole time she belongs to another man. But you didn't know. A lot of women, you get jammed up. Right? You at your job. Or you out in public. You just being simple. You can't play around with this thing, man. Let me get one precept. Let me get one more precept on that. Let's go to the book of Genesis. Right? Let's go to Genesis, the 4th chapter. Right? Genesis. Right? Genesis chapter 4 and verse number, I'm going to start at verse 6. Right? This is the book of Genesis chapter 4 and 6. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thou countenance fallen? Meaning, why are you sad? It says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Now, when it says sin lieth at the door, that's talking about your door represents your mind, pursuing to Revelation chapter 3 and 20. It says, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Meaning the spiritual demon Satan, he's going to rule over your mind. All because thou didn't do as well, man. You was entertained in that temptation. And I believe they even tell you this in they show you this in the Word. I believe if brothers and sisters have seen that movie, Temptation with Tyler Perry. It's an old movie, but it's a Tyler Perry movie called Temptation. You had the one Eve, the light-skinned Eve. I believe her name was Judith, and she was with her husband. And they was married. They was cool at first. Then she got this job, and you had this dude named Harvey, right? You had this Jake named Harvey, and he was hitting on her. Now in that movie, you know what I'm saying, she was getting tempted, man. She was getting hit on. He started bringing her flowers. She was getting tempted, right? She had a choice. Hey, you gonna stay faithful to your husband? Now she don't know what's going on. She in the world, right? You got a lot of brothers getting mad. Why did she go through the precepts? Why didn't she read the scriptures? Why was she praying? Brother, it's a movie, brother. But it's to show you what's gonna happen if you're not dealing with temptation in the right way, in the right manner. When you just taking it lightly, man. It's, you're gonna be out here committing adultery. Then the Lord gonna destroy you, man. Now let's go to the book of. Let me bring this out. I want to bring out this precept in 2 Samuel, right, with King David. Right. I want to bring out this precept in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11. Right, it's the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11. I'm going to get straight to the point, verse 2. And it came to pass, and at eventide, that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. So David, he's out, you know what I'm saying, on his rooftop, and he sees another man's wife washing herself. And she was very beautiful. Now, we don't even know all the thoughts that was going to David's head. But guess what? David indulged. Got tempted, and he indulged in it, man. He started beholding her beauty. It started getting toward him. Satan started playing on his mind. It says, verse 3, and David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. So David inquired of this woman, yet you had a servant that said, hold on, David, is this not so-and-so's wife? That belongs to Uriah the Hittite? What are you thinking? He probably went through the precepts. He probably said, hey, thou shalt not commit adultery. The point is, David, he wanted to do something that was good to his flesh, even though he knew it was wrong. He knew that woman was married. Nevertheless, that's what happens when you indulge in temptation. It says, and David sent messengers, meaning he didn't want to hear that. It says, and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness. And she returned to her house. And the woman conceived and sent, and told David, and said, I am with child. See that? So all because David indulged in the temptation, guess what? He had a baby by another man's wife. And when you read 2 Samuel, the 12th chapter, the Lord killed the baby, man. But it just show you how deep you could get when you indulge in temptation, man. But you have to be aware of it. Let's go to the classic. All right? Let's go to the classic. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 2. You as an Israelite man and woman, right? You have to be prepared for this. Now your know is gonna come. And there's so much temptation in the world. You could get tempted about 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, man. Every day. Why? Because we living in a world full of sin and ungodliness. This is what the Lord said. That's the classic. Right? Sirach chapter 2 and verse number 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So, you brothers, let's say if you're new in the truth, one thing brothers don't expect when they come into the truth, when they first came in, or when you first came in, you didn't expect to get tempted. You just heard about the kingdom of heaven. We got to keep the commandments. We Israelites. Oh yeah, let's go. You're not thinking about temptation. You're not thinking about what's in that cup that you have to drink of. What the Lord is saying off bat, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, if you really want to serve the Lord and be on fire, prepare thy soul from temptation. A lot of men, the reason why you lacking and you falling and you're backsliding due to temptation, because you're not prepared for it. A lot of you women, you're not prepared for it, man. What does it mean to prepare for something? That means to get things in order before it happens. That means when you prepare, just like a meal, you prepare a meal, you're not just winging it and just last minute taking out the chicken, then you cooking mashed potato. You're not just winging it at the last minute. No, you got your mind already made up. You might set out the food a day before, let the meat unthaw, get your seasonings ready. You do it before you prepare for it. You have to prepare for temptation. Like tomorrow, I already know what time it is tomorrow. When I go into work tomorrow, I'm not going into work saying, "Oh yeah, let's have a beautiful day today." No, I already know what time it is. Satan, he's finna throw something new. Something I haven't seen. He's gonna try to do something new. So I gotta prepare for it. I'm already thinking what's finna go down tomorrow. Damn, could Satan hop on my supervisor? Could he hop on somebody I work with? Can he hop on an Edomite at my job? I don't know. I already know what time it is going into work tomorrow morning though. So you have to prepare. It says, set thy heart aright, meaning set thy mind aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in a time of trouble. A lot of brothers, they don't constantly endure it. You got to set your mind aright and constantly endure. And what does it mean by it make not haste in time of trouble? Right? A lot of men, they go through certain things, certain afflictions or temptations. They hurry up, just try to get out of it. Lord, take me out of this. Lord, no. You need that. You need temptation. Right? You need to, yes, I'm saying it. Now you might say, well, this brother, he going off. What do you mean you need temptation? No, you need temptation. Why? Because that's building you up. That's building your character, man. That's building up your faith. That's building up your fear of the Lord. That's building up your understanding. A lot of men, they try to run from it. A lot of women, they try to run from it. No, you can't make haste in time of trouble. It says, verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Just look at Job. Look what happened to Job. Job, when you read Job, the 42nd chapter, he got twice of what he had before. It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. And the more you go through temptation, you're going to start to count it. You're going to start to take it joyfully. Right? You're going to get tempted, whether you fail or whether you pass it. You're going to say, oh, come on, all praises to the Most High. I needed that. Now I know what to do next time. Now I know what to do next time if the same thing occurs. If this same temptation comes against me, now I know how to handle it. You can't be crying all the damn time, man. And crying all day. You want to take it cheerfully. Because now you know that the Lord is dealing with you. Hey, the Lord is not tempting nobody that he's not trying to deal with. Right? 9 times out of 10, the Most High, if he's tempting you, he cares about you. Right? He's trying to show you something that you're not aware of. And that's how he does it. Verse 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. See that? So you have to be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. And most importantly, you have to prepare thy soul for temptation when you come and serve the Most High. When you trying to keep the commandments, before you even think about keeping the commandments and learning all the high holy days and the feast days and the different books in the Bible and getting shofars and getting the frankincense and myrrh, you have to prepare your soul for temptation. Now let's go to the book of, let's go to the book of James, the first chapter. Right? Let's go to the book of James. Right, it's the book of James, chapter 1 and verse number 13. James 1 and 13. It says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. Right, so it says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. Right, you got certain men saying, man, the Most High, what is he on? The Lord is tempting me. Right, the Bible says, when thou art tempted, let no man say I'm tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil. Right, you think the Most High can be tempted with evil? Satan just trying to tempt the Most High like this. The Lord like this on his throne, right, standing mighty with his majesty. And you got Satan saying, what about this? And bringing and trying to tempt the Lord. No, the Lord laughs at temptation. He can't be tempted with evil. Neither he tempt any man. It's the point. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. So it's you, brother. It's your lust. You're drawn away of it. That's when you're getting tempted. It says when Every man is tempted. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Meaning you enticed by these demons on the left hand side. It says, verse 15, then when lust conceived, it bringeth forth sin. Right? You have that lust, you getting enticed for it. Once you conceive that lust, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. See that? So you better think twice next time you think about indulging in your fleshly pleasures. Because when you get tempted, it bringeth forth lust. Lust bringeth forth sin. Lust, when it's conceived, is bringeth forth sin. Sin, when it is finished, you just got done going off. Guess what, brother? It brings forth death. You better hope that the Lord has mercy on you, or you have some mercy stored up. Because if not, you're gonna die. This is what the Bible says. So think twice before you indulge in your fleshly pleasures. Are you being tempted by the spiritual demon Satan? Right? And I also want to get this precept. Let me get this in the book of Luke. Or let me get this in the book of Luke. Right? So now we went over what is temptation, certain signs of it, how to indicate it, the fundamentals. Now it's time to tell you, brothers and sisters, how to overcome it. But first, let me get this precept. In the book of actually, I'm gonna hold that. Let's go to the book of which one I want. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10. All right. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. Or this is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, and verse number 13. It says, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. Right, so the temptations that you go through, 9 times out of 10, the next brother is dealing with the same thing you're going through. Right? There's plenty of times I've heard stories and accounts of brothers sitting up other brothers on the phone. They confessing their faults. They saying, yeah, what you going through? Khan, yeah, I'm going through that too. Yeah, man, that's slothful, man. That slothful demon be trying to hit me in the morning as well. Brothers go through the same thing you going through, man. That's why it's important to confess your faults. You will never know what the next man is going through. So 9 times out of 10, the temptation that you're dealing with as a man or a woman, the same man, the same brother that you labor with, he's going through the same thing. The same sister that's in your sister's congregation, or that you'll link up on the feast days, she might be going through anger issues as well. She may be going through thoughts on going back in the world. She's going through the same, she's getting tempted by the same things you're getting tempted by. That's what it means by there have no temptation taken you, but such that is common to man. But God is faithful, who would not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Because when a lot of times when brothers get tempted, they use an excuse to indulge in it by saying, man, I don't think I can overcome this, bro. This, man, my damn hair hurt. Satan playing on my mind. Right? I don't know if I can overcome this. No, brother, you can overcome it, man. A lot of women saying, I don't know. They biting their thumb, they biting their fingernails. Right? They doing that leg shake. Right? Hey, guess what, man? Hey, the Lord said you can overcome it because God is faithful, who would not have you to be tempted above that you can handle, paraphrasing. It says, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So next time you get tempted, just know that it's a way you can escape. It's always a way you can escape temptation, man. A lot of brothers think it's the end all be all when temptation, when the spiritual demon Satan appears right in front of them. No, brother, it's not the end all be all. It's a way you can. It's always a way you can escape. Every temptation, every test, every trial, it's a way you can escape, man. A lot of brothers, you act like Satan got lockdown defense. A lot of men, you act like Satan is a lockdown defender. He just, you ain't going nowhere. No, brother, you could escape that, man. It's about how you escape it, though. How do you escape it? Do you kind of juke Satan? Right? Do you kind of just do a crossover and just, then you escape him? Then you kind of do a Allen Iverson crossover. Then you do a hezzy like you finna shoot. Then you kind. Is that what it's talking about? Do you escape temptation by bribing Satan, saying I'll do this? How much money you want? No, that's not what it's talking about. How do you escape temptation? We're gonna go to it. Let's go to the book of. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3. Right. Then I want to get another precept in the Apocrypha after this. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, and verse number 10. I'm going to start at verse 11. It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and 11. Let him eschew evil. I'm going to read that again. Let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace and eschew it. What does it mean by to eschew evil? Right? What does that mean? So like it real fast, if a brother or sister can you look up the definition of eschew in 1 Peter 3 and 11 and type it in the chat? Right? What does it mean to eschew evil? Right, like the sister say, to turn away. It means to avoid. That's what it means, to avoid it. Like it tell you in Job chapter 1, right? Job chapter 1 and 1, that Job was a perfect man in the land of Uz, one that feared God and eschewed evil, man. So Job was a man that avoided evil. A way you could overcome temptation is by avoiding it, getting away from it, like Joseph did in Genesis the 39th chapter, man. Joseph, he didn't just stay there. A lot of men, a lot of women, you get around your family members, get around your mom, your great grandma. They just talking about God knows what. They talking about worldly things. You just sitting there. You just say, yeah. They talking about Christmas, but a lot of you women, you don't want to hurt your mom's feelings, so you kind of just laugh with her. No, you gotta avoid it, man. You gotta get up out of there. That's what it means to eschew. So when you're around your world, let's say you're around your worldly family members, and they not talking about the precepts, you gotta get out of there. You gotta say, hey, I gotta go. I'm saying I got somewhere to be. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Then you gotta get up out of there, man. Right? I believe the brother King Trey, right? All praise to the Most High. It says to